What's up, guys? Chuck Pippin here. I want to talk about something today. It's a pretty popular subject you see all over social media, and it has to do with invasive species of grasses, mainly Hydrilla, that we have in our lakes here in Central Florida. And I know I'm going to get a lot of flack and a lot of feedback on my opinion on the grasses and how it's treated, because I may not have the popular opinion that some people have. I'm driving through Disney here. I just dropped off my customer from today, Tyler. He's from Kentucky, and this is his first down here on a family vacation going to Disney. I just dropped him off at his hotel, and he almost decided not to fish here because of all the bad stuff he sees on social media. As far as he was concerned, being from Kentucky and being down here, that all of our lakes down here were dead. And it's not Tyler. I'm not picking on Tyler. I mean, if you don't know any better, most people think that. Before he came down here, when he was doing his research, he read a lot of articles and saw a lot of posts on social media like Facebook and Instagram about spray boats are back, spraying grass, fish with big tumors on their faces, no grass left, fish kills, all that kind of stuff. A lot of that stuff you read is about Lake Okeechobee being a dead lake. Okeechobee's not a dead lake. You can't scroll through Facebook for more than 5 minutes if you have a lot of fishermen on your feed and not see pictures of spray boats, areas with that used to have grass that no longer have grass, and dead lake this, dead lake that, fish kills, and all this stuff. And let me be the first to say that I know a lot of people that live down in Okeechobee and make a living fishing there. A lot of guides. I used to guide on Lake Okeechobee out of Roland Martin's. Okeechobee's not a dead lake. Have they oversprayed it? Have they mismanaged it? Probably they have. Do they go too long with spraying and then go in and we say they nuke it, is a term that you hear commonly used, meaning that they go in and just wipe out all the grass? They probably do. But there's a lot of people down there on Okeechobee and the waterways around there that make a living off of tourism, off the people that pay them to take them fishing. And a lot of those guys, a lot of the guides down there's businesses are struggling. Not all of them, but a lot of them, because the people that used to be their customers or their potential customers think that the lake's dead. And it's not dead. Again, it probably has been mismanaged. It probably still is being mismanaged. But posting stuff on Facebook, if you have 750 friends or followers on Facebook, it's not going to change the opinion of anybody up in Tallahassee or anybody in the FWC. They're not going to say so-and-so, Joe Blow that lives down in Okeechobee City, just took a picture of all of our spray boats launching out of the north end of the lake. We need to rethink this. They're just going to spray. Being combative with the FWC is not going to change their minds. I doubt there's anybody that works for the FWC that sits in an office somewhere and says, you know what, we need to go kill all these bodies of water. I would think that most people that have something to do with the aquatic vegetation management on these waters here in Central and South Florida have good intentions. Working with the people to change how they're sprayed, how the lakes are managed, is probably a better option than just posting pictures of spray boats or dead grass. That's not going to make them change. How you work with them, I don't have the answer for that. Stopping spraying is not an option either. I don't know if spraying is a good answer, because they're spraying poisons in the lake that kill the grasses. Do they have an adverse effect on the fish? Probably. But Hydrilla is not supposed to be in these lakes. It was introduced back in the 50s, as far as I know, and it grows out of control. They did very little spraying on my home lake this year, West Lake Toho, and it is covered with Hydrilla. I've never seen as much Hydrilla on that 20,000 acre lake as we have right now. Anybody that's been out there recently or in the past few months knows, there's Hydrilla in places we've never had Hydrilla. But you never see anybody post anything that says, control your spraying. It's all stop spraying, stop spraying, stop spraying. Well, I hate to be the one to break it to you, but if they stop spraying, some of these lakes are going to get choked out. The average depth on West Lake Toho is probably around 5 feet deep. And our average water temperature throughout the year is probably around 80 degrees. And that is perfect breeding grounds for hydrilla. And if they stop spraying, that lake's going to get choked up. I recently saw, and I'm not going to call anybody out because most people that are posting against spraying have good intentions. I guess the people that are in charge of the spraying probably have good intentions. The way everything's being handled, though, is not working for either side. If they stop spraying, we'd be in big trouble. But you can't get up on your soapbox and say, you know, I'm the person with all the answers, stop the spraying, it'll fix everything. Because you're harming the lake also. Every time you run your big high output outboard through big old topped out mats of hydrilla and you chop it all up, you're spreading hydrilla. Just as much as those harvesters or the grass mowers that they bring out there spread hydrilla all over the place. That's how it spreads, chops it up. Every time you crank up that outboard motor, you know where the exhaust goes? It doesn't come out through the top of the motor. It goes out through the exhaust port in your prop. I know all the new outboards, like my Evinrude G2 has very low emissions, but there's emissions. You're injecting poisons in the lake too. I wouldn't doubt that some of the people that are posting all this stuff aren't the same people that when they're done with a plastic worm or a creature bait, instead of throwing it in the bottom of their boat and then later putting it in a recycle bin, aren't the same people that are just throwing them in the water. I lose plastic baits in the lake. I lose lead weights in the lake. I don't use all tungsten weights. I use lead weights sometimes also, and I lose them. And so I'm just as guilty of putting poisons in the lake as the FWC does. Does the stuff that we put in the lakes through the emissions from our motors and lures have as much of an impact on the fisheries as them spraying the poisons to kill the grass? I don't know. But ever since I was a kid, I grew up in Ocala, grew up fishing the Ocala National Forest, fished Orange Lake and Loch Lusa, Robin Reservoir, the Ocklawaha River. I spent thousands of days down in Okeechobee and in the Everglades and on the Kissimmee chain and all over the place. Lived my whole life in Florida. And they've always sprayed. And it seems like since social media has become more popular, everybody's on it, that this is where people are going to disagree with me. I think some of these people are doing it for attention because they'll go out and catch an 8-pound bass and put it on their Facebook feed. I boat flipped this 8-pounder on my so-and-so stick, throwing in this and that, and I boat flipped it, and they get 25 comments and 140 likes. They post a picture of a spray boat out on Lake Toho, and they get 470 likes, they get 600 shares, and 900 comments because they got more attention. And it's human nature. People love attention. I like attention. And don't try and find me a bass fisherman that doesn't like attention. I'm driving around to Orlando with a wrap boat and a wrap truck. You know, you got to get attention in this sport. But those same people that are saying this is a dead lake now, will then on the weekend go win a club tournament with 29 pounds. You know what you don't win tournaments with on dead lakes? 29 pounds. If Okeechobee was a dead lake, there wouldn't be 20-pound bags being caught every weekend in tournaments down there. Is it going through some bad stuff right now? It is. Toho's not in the greatest shape. It's not from lack of grass. We have too much grass. And the spray boat showed up last week, and I knew as soon as the spray boat showed up, all I had to do was go to social media to see locals saying the spray boats are here. I saw somebody post, they sprayed North Cove down on Kissimmee. It probably needed to be sprayed. I've seen what North Cove looks like on Kissimmee when it doesn't get sprayed for a long time, and the whole inside grass lines get completely choked up with hydrilla, and then you hear people saying there's too much grass. You can't even hardly fish in North Cove. There's too much grass here. I can't get up inside anything. It's all chalked up with grass. Can't even get my trolling motor through there. Then as soon as the spray boats show up, the same exact people are going, well, here goes the spray boats, they're going to nuke everything. Last week, I took a picture on a spot on Lake Toho where there was some alligator grass and some floating hyacinths, and I posted and I said, this is one of the most beautiful mats I've seen on Lake Toho in several years. And I did that kind of testing to see what kind of responses I would get. And most of the people, instead of, it was a positive post. Here's something gorgeous. Can't wait for these fish to move up in here and I get a flipping bite. But that picture got more likes than the 8-pounder that I posted that a lady caught on my boat 2 days before that. It got more attention. A big old mat of grass. Not a fish, not us fishing it. It was just a picture of grass, got more attention than an 8-pounder that a lady caught on a shell bed fishing with me. That's a little ridiculous, I think. But most of the comments I got, and I'm not picking on people, but most of the comments I got were, shouldn't post this picture because the FWC is going to come destroy it. They're going to destroy it. They're going to spray it. No. They might come spray it. Who knows? I remember when we had so much alligator grass on Lake Toho that there was fields of it. And then they sprayed it. And was I upset? I was a little upset because I was catching fish out of it. There's so much hydrilla on Lake Toho right now that it's hard to decide where to go fish. I have a few spots I'm catching them. Some of it needs to get sprayed because the whole south end and the whole north end, as of a month ago, was completely topped out with hydrilla. All we had on the very north end of Lake Toho before we ran around Little Grassy Island was a path down either side. Couldn't even fish up there. They had a couple little spots there right by the boat ramp, but that was it. So, what I'm trying to say, and you can disagree with me, I know half the people that watch this are going to think that I'm dumb for saying anything in support of spraying, but I don't think stopping the spraying is the answer. I don't know if spraying is the answer. I can definitely tell you that I don't think the mowers or the harvesters are the answer, because if you've ever gone behind one of those harvesters, there's big paddle wheel boats. I'll see if I can put a picture up here with this video. But if you don't know what the harvesters are, they're big paddle wheel boats, barges, and they have this big conveyor belt, and it basically is ripping the grass out, ripping it out by the roots, or in some of the deeper areas it's just mowing it down, and it grows right back. But if you go behind any of these mowers, there's thousands of pieces of hydrilla floating all over the place, and I think that spreads it around. I could be wrong, who knows? But making Facebook posts and any kind of social media posts about stopping the spraying is not stopping anybody from spraying. All it is doing is hurting the pocketbooks of people that make a living on these lakes. It doesn't mean I'd rather see my wallet grow and not care about the health of the lake. That's not what I'm saying. I would like to see it controlled, but we do have the hydrilla, and it does have to be controlled. That's if you don't control it, we'll get too much of it. I don't know. I'd like to hear your comments on what you think. Go ahead and disagree with me, or agree with me, but stopping the spraying is not the answer. Nuking places is not the answer. We have to come up with a way to control the grass, which right now spraying seems to be the only answer. So don't post pictures, or post whatever you want. You can do whatever you want on social media, but posting pictures of the spray boats coming to kill your lake is not helping anything. So that's all I got to say, and thanks for watching. Don't hate me for my opinion, and we'll see you next time. See ya.